Hey everybody, this is Peter with Cooking with Peter. You know, I've been cooking cheesecakes for a long time in the pressure cookers. I have both the Ninja and also the Instant Pot pressure cookers. But I was curious, could I do the same cheesecake in the Ninja Speedi? The answer is absolutely you can, and I'm going to show you how. I'm going to be going over the ingredients with you today for our cheesecake that we're going to be making in the Ninja Speedi. First of all, we need to make the crust that's going to the bottom of the cheesecake pan. Now this is a 6-inch by 3-inch springform pan. This is the type and size of pan that will fit into the Ninja Speedi. Now you might think this is kind of a small cheesecake, but in reality, if you have only like 4 to 6 people at your dinner party, this is a great size without having a lot of cheesecake left over. Here we have 6 graham crackers that I've put into my blender, and I have ground all those up into a fine sand, like you can see here. We also have half a stick of softened butter, and we have just a pinch of salt. These are the 3 items that are going to be going into the pan first, and then we're going to be putting in the rest of the ingredients. I have 2 blocks of cream cheese, and by the way, all of these things need to be at room temperature. That's very, very important for all to come together. We have 3/4 of a cup of sugar. We have 1 tablespoon of flour, half a cup of cream cheese. We have 2 eggs, and then we have a package of Jell-O instant pudding. Now, if you look right here, this one says cheesecake flavor. You can do whatever you like as far as flavor goes with cheesecake. I made one yesterday that I'm going to show you a little bit later that was a lemon flavor, so for a lemon cheesecake. But they have vanilla, they have banana, they have pistachio, they just have many flavors, and you can pick the flavor you want right in the pudding box. And then at the end, we're going to have a little bit of vanilla just to bring it all together. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next step and show you how to put the graham crackers, butter into the springform pan, and then we'll get going with the rest of the items. Okay, everybody, I'm going to show you how to make a circle on the parchment paper using your springform pan, the outer side. So all you want to do is use a pen and just draw into the the inside of the springform pan. That is going to give us the size that the circle needs to be for it to fit here on our surface of the springform pan on the inside. So I'll just cut this out and then I'll show you the next step. Now what you need to do is just take a very small amount of butter, and by the way, again, this is at room temperature, and I do mean a very small amount, and just wipe that here on the top of the plate that's going to hold the cheesecake. Then just take this and just lay it right on top, and that's going to hold that parchment paper in place. Now all you have to do is put this in there, tighten it up just like that. It's going to snap into place, and you can see that it's holding very well right into there. The parchment paper is going to help release the cheesecake from the pan whenever we get that far. All right, now we're going to mix together the graham cracker crumbs, the melted butter, that was half a stick of melted butter, and a little bit of salt. So we'll mix all those together. We're just going to mix together until everything gets nice and moist. And then we'll put all of this into the springform pan. You could also put some different things in here. You could be putting some ground up macadamia nuts, which I find very delicious in a cheesecake of certain flavors. You could be putting in almonds. You could be putting in candies, all types of things into here just to kind of push up the flavor a little more. Now we're just going to dump this into our pan and try to get all of that you can out. Just like that. Now, just move it around until it kind of gets spread around the bottom, just like you're seeing. Now, we're going to use this here to push the graham cracker crumbs into the side and up the side. So all we're doing is just pushing these over to the edge and using this cup. You can use a coffee cup, you could use a measuring cup, whatever you have that's going to allow you to push some of these crumbs up to the edge. It doesn't have to be exact, just like that. That's all we're trying to accomplish right there. Now, the next step for this is to put this into the freezer for about 15 minutes. Some people say you can bake it. Just put it in the freezer. It's going to be fine. So I'm going to set this in my freezer, and then we're going to go on to the next step. Now we're going to put all these ingredients together, and the first thing we're going to do is put in 2 blocks of 8 ounces each of cream cheese. This again needs to be at room temperature. If it's cold, it's not going to mix well. So let's use my handy dandy blender and start getting this blended up. Okay, the next ingredient we're going to be putting in is the sour cream. By the way, the steps that you put the ingredients in is important, and I'm going to show you why at the end, okay? So now we're going to put in the sour cream. Again, about half a cup more or less. Doesn't have to be exact. So put in the cream cheese. Now we're going to mix and blend all this in with the cream cheese. Okay, and if you need to, use your spatula and just kind of scrape things down off the sides should you need to do that, and obviously I needed to do that. So the next thing we're going to add in is the sugar. So here I have 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Just keep blending until it's all coming together. And now I'm going to put in about 1 tablespoon of flour. Again, just sprinkle that all around, like you see here, and blend that in. Now, we're going to put in an egg, and we're going to blend that in. We're going to do the eggs one at a time. So you want to make sure they get incorporated, and again, make sure that your eggs are at room temperature. The other thing to know is that it's always better to crack the eggs out here on the surface, not up here. So therefore, you stand a better chance of not getting a shell into the mix if you crack it out there. It's all coming together nicely. Okay, now we're going to do the next egg. Again, crack it outside of the container and then just let it fall in, just like that. Blend this egg in too. Okay, now we're going to put in our vanilla. Okay, and the last thing we're going to put in is the instant pudding. The reason it's important to put this in at the very last is, remember, this is instant pudding, which means that it's going to start to gel and congeal very fast. If you're going to be putting this in to eat it regularly as pudding, you know it only takes like 5 minutes for it to set up. So that's why this needs to be the very last thing you put into your cheesecake. So we'll sprinkle this all in. And again, we're not going to mix it very long, just until it all comes together. Just like that. And again, don't wait very long, because it's going to start setting up very, very quickly with that humidity. Okay, so I just turned up the speed to try to get the stuff off of my blender, my beater bars rather. So mix this all together. And let me get this cleaned up, wash my hands, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to put all this together right here in the Ninja Speedi. We'll be right back. Okay, I've just taken the pie crust, or excuse me, the cheesecake crust out of the freezer. It's been there for at least 15 minutes. And now I'm just going to take the cream cheese mixture, cheesecake mixture, and put that all into our springform pan. Just trying to get out as much as you can. All right, now you just want to take your spatula and move this all around. Just going to smooth it out, press it down so that you fill in the holes in through here. And just keep on smoothing it out, just like that. Just like you would any cheesecake you would ever make. All right, so let me scrape this off, put that back in there. Okay, now one last step. You want to take a piece of foil and you want to wrap this around the cheesecake pan, the springform pan. The reason for this, really, the only reason, is to keep the condensation out of the cheesecake. As this steams up, some moisture is going to be steaming up from the lid and it will be dropping down. So this helps to protect the cheesecake from getting a lot of water in it. Now we're going to put the cheesecake into the Ninja Speedi. I took out the tray, and you want to put that down on the lower level down below, not on the top, all right? So it's very important to try to get as level as you can. Now you're going to be putting in 2 cups of water right into the bottom of the Speedi. 2 cups. You don't need less, 2 cups, not 1 cup. Place this right into the Ninja Speedi. Just like that. Remember, you put the foil in, you wrapped it all up, you made sure it's nice and secure. All right, so now we're going to turn the unit on. We're going to go to steam and bake right down here. We're going to lower the temperature to 290. We're going to raise the time to 30 minutes. Just like that. Press go, and we're off to the races. So it's going to take about 10 or so minutes for the machine to go through its preheat process, and then 30 minutes is the time. You don't need to look. I'm telling you, 30 minutes is the time, okay? So I did this a few times before to make the recipe come out correctly, and 30 minutes is the right time. All right, so let it go, and we'll be back on the next steps. Okay, everybody, the Ninja Speedi has just completed its 30 minutes of cook time. So I'm just going to raise the top off. And as you can see, there's a little bit of moisture up here, but the foil is there to protect that. Now all the water we put in before is gone. And we're going to set this over here for now. I want to take this off and show you what it looks like. Don't worry about that. Okay. Now, as you can see that the cheesecake is very wiggly in here. So you can see it has a lot of movement. Of course, like any cheesecake, you have to let it chill and you have to let it sit in the refrigerator, typically overnight. But what I'm going to do right now is put the cheesecake back into the Speedi, and we're going to give the top of this a little bit of color. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And put this right back in, just like that. Remember, it's hot, so let me close this, and what you're going to do is move this over to air fry, and you're going to set the temperature to 350. You're going to set the time to 3 minutes. Only 3 minutes. Don't go more, you're going to burn the top, okay? So start that. It's now going to go for about 3 minutes, and then I'll take it out and show you what the cheesecake looks like after that 3 minutes. So we'll be right back. Okay, we've just finished putting a nice color on the top of the cheesecake like you're seeing here. And remember, like any type of cheesecake you ever make, you need to let the cheesecake cool. So I'm just going to use this knife, and I'm just going to put the knife in like this, just to keep kind of a gap, so that hot air will escape out of the Speedi. So let me go over here to the fridge, and I'm going to show you the cheesecake that I actually made yesterday. And this is the one that I made last night. The cheesecake you're going to make has got to cool down, and then leave it in the pan like you're seeing here, and it needs to stay in the refrigerator overnight. Now, to release it, just take a knife and just come around the cheesecake like this in the pan, and therefore you can release the cheesecake from the side. Just like that. Okay, perfect. Oh my goodness, look at that. Now, as you can tell, this is a 6-inch cheesecake, and this is perfect as far as the amount goes for 4 to 6 people. So that's why I don't make an 8-inch or a 9-inch cheesecake when it's only a few people. Otherwise, I'm going to have a whole lot of cheesecake in my house, and my belly just doesn't need that, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and cut just a couple of wedges. And we'll put them right over here, just like that. Let me get a couple more, just like this, and then one more. And by the way, this is a lemon cheesecake. The flavoring of pudding that I used on this one was lemon flavor. So if you want to do the lemon cheesecake, you could just put a little bit of topping on the top, like this. And then, when you're doing this, you can just squeeze a lemon like that and put that on top. Not the best decorator, I must tell you. So, like that. And put a little lemons aside so people know what it is. If you're going to be doing a strawberry lemonade cheesecake, just put some strawberries on the side like that, and you could put a strawberry in the top. Also, blueberries go very, very well with lemon cheesecake. So you can also just put some blueberries in around like that, just like that. And that would show people some different designs of the cheesecake. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I want to give 2 or 3 shout outs here today. Raybo over in San Jose, California. Hey Raybo, I really appreciate all your comments all the time. Chip Seal Rider. I'm not sure where you're from, but I want to say thank you so much for the comments I see below. Also, our good friend Robert over in Arizona. Thanks again, Robert, for making the comments. We really appreciate it. And by the way, we'd love to give you a shout out too. So you can always just make a comment down below. Let us know where you're watching the video from, as in what city, state, or country, either way. And we'll be sure to give you a shout out in a future video. By the way, the recipe for this is available on my website, cookingwithpeter.com. Also, if you would like to get yourself a Ninja Speedi, there will be a link below and you can click on that and it will take you over to the site and you can pick up a Ninja Speedi for yourself. Thanks again for watching and we'll see you next time.